you for being here today. I have no questions at this time. Would like to yield to my colleague from Colorado, Mr. Neguse.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, let me just say thank you to the ranking member for his many years of service to our institution, for his distinguished service on the House Judiciary Committee, and his leadership. And I believe we all are grateful, and I'm certainly among those who believes that the ranking member has made an indelible impression and impact on this institution that I believe will last generations. And so I want to make sure the ranking member knows my sentiments. I want to give the chairman an opportunity to respond to the ranking member and perhaps expound a bit and give us some understanding about why House Republicans waited 2 months, 3 months, I suppose, after this bill was sent by the United States Senate to the House to take it up.
I would just say this, the ranking member, and I too appreciate Mr. Nadler's service to the committee. The ranking member and his continued service to the committee, mentioned fairness. Judicial Conference says we need it. Everyone knows we need it. It came out of the Senate unanimously. The first 22 judges that President Trump will get a chance to nominate, I believe 10 or 11 come from states where both senators are Democrats, and they will weigh in on the process. I don't know how you make it any fairer than what it is. If all those first states had all Republican senators, and maybe you have an argument, but I think this is as fair as it's going to get. And again, it's spaced out over a 10-year time period. We don't know who the next president's going to be in 2028. We don't know who they're going to be in 2032. We just don't know. That's why it's spaced out over 10 years.
Let me try this another way. Democrats and Republicans in the United States Senate, Senator Young from Indiana, Senator Padilla from California, came together, passed on a unanimous basis legislation to address the judicial crisis facing our courts. They did so in advance of the 2024 presidential election with the understanding that this legislation needed to be signed into law for the reasons that the ranking member articulated. They sent that bill here to the House. I believe it was received on August 6th of this year. We're taking it up now in December, long after the election. Why?
We just didn't get to the legislation.
Just didn't get to it.
Yeah,
it's going to take.
We didn't get to the legislation. That doesn't change, but it doesn't change the fact that the American.
When did you make the announcement that we'd take this bill up?
It doesn't change the fact that the American people.
When did you make this announcement?
I don't remember making an announcement we'd take the bill up.
Well, I believe you did an interview a few weeks ago, right after the election, right after Donald Trump won the presidency, and you said, "Oh, you know what? we got to get this bill done. We're going to get it to the floor."
Well, I think I was asked about the legislation. We got to get it done.
Just coincidence.
Came out of the Senate unanimous. The American people spoke. President Trump won the popular vote, won all 7 swing states, won 30 of the 50 electoral college states in the electoral college. I mean,
that is one interesting coincidence that the bill comes to the House on August 6th of this year. It comes to the House on a unanimous basis from the United States Senate. Everybody's for it. Everyone says we've got to get this done.
Well, not everyone's for it. It sounds like you're against it.
We've got to get this done before the presidential election. And lo and behold,
because you don't like what the people said?
The chairman of the committee
You don't like what the people said?
We're not going to get it to the floor. We're going to wait until the presidential election so that once we know
tell me what
our preferred candidate has won the election, we'll bring it to the floor.
I would ask the fine gentleman from Colorado, has something changed in the legislation since August to December? It's still the same bill.
I appreciate the chairman's position. Of course, ranking member Nadler.
The whole point of the legislation and the reason the Senate passed it back on, August 6th, was that no one then knew who would win the next election. Yes, the American people spoke. Yes, the American people gave Donald Trump 4 years. But that is why we cannot pass the legislation now, because we know who won the election. And the idea was we should pass legislation in which nobody knows who wins the election, so that we'll see what happens. That was the idea. Now, Mr. Issa and I begged the chairman to schedule this vote as soon as possible, before the election. He didn't do it. Why didn't he do it? Because I'm sure that had Kamala Harris won the election, we wouldn't be talking about this bill now.
Of course.
And only because Donald Trump won the election are we now talking about this bill.
Precisely. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you. I would yield to my